we are able to provide a very much of a combined solution that the clients can really use to optimize their business model.
So we have that expertise, so we work along with all the investment research analysts and all the business or sector experts. So it's quite easy to make data interpretable and take actionable items out of those data.
Hello, you're with Echelon's Rocketship Experience, where we are featuring some of Sri Lanka's most innovative companies who, despite the challenges here, are in investment and growth mode. And in the studio with us are a team from global investment research support firm Acuity Knowledge Partners, including its Managing Director, Investment Research, a global role, and that is Chanakya Dissanayake. We have Gayani Samarasekera, who is the Associate Director in charge of Sell-Side Research Delivery out of Colombo. And we have Rohan Fernando, Associate Director of Specialized Projects. Chanakya, Gayani, Rohan, welcome. All right, to start this discussion, let me come to you, Chanakya, right? I don't think for anybody watching this, they'd be very familiar with what Acuity Knowledge Partners does as a business. Can you demystify Acuity for us?
Sure. So, Shamindra, we are a global firm now celebrating our 20th anniversary, and part of our business actually started here in Colombo, Sri Lanka. The part that is related to investment research that we provide to asset management clients and global investment banks. We are best understood as currently the largest firm globally that is providing specialized analytical support, data science, technological solutions, and other knowledge services to the global capital markets, financial institutions, and management consulting industry.
So basically you work with clients who are managing money on their own behalf or on the behalf of other people, right? What sorts of companies are these?
We work for large number of asset management firms, right. But also in addition to traditional asset management firms, we do work for large number of hedge funds, private wealth management firms, but also investment banks, the commercial banks that have very large corporate lending operations, as well as management consultancy firms that require part of their analytical staff or technology staff or data science staff to basically be based offshore as an extended part of their teams. So all the work that we do it on dedicated or bespoke basis for clients as an extension for their own teams based offshore.
Right. And Gayani, bringing you in at Acuity, you handle the sell side business and also the investment banks. Okay. Again, can you sort of outline for us what that means, in terms of what do you help clients with?
Sure. So equity research is basically the study of a company in depth and giving a recommendation to investors whether to buy, hold or sell. So that is basically the work that we do in it. Okay. And sell-side research is where we publish this view in report format. Then it's circulated to institutional investors, the wider finance community, and to make their investment decisions. So that is basically the work that we do. And we have the main analyst sitting offshore, or not offshore, abroad, say in one of the developed financial markets, and we support them. We are basically the associates. So the key analyst is based there, but we are the associate. And I have team members in my team that write, say, 95% of the final form report. So it's a huge cost saving for them. We have high caliber people here, very knowledgeable, with a lot of technical expertise. And it has definitely given them time to engage in more market related activities, thereby enhancing their profitability.
Right.
So Gayani's team work as an extension to our clients who are typically investment banks publishing research in developed markets. In Gayani's case, it would be largely European investment banks
Right.
that basically have research coverage over multiple sectors. So her team, under her supervision, works as an extension to the clients that have basically contracted our services.
Right. So Gayani, I'm just trying to understand what your clients are worried about, or they are managing money. They want optimal returns on this money, benchmark beating returns of some sort, right? And I'm sure they want to keep an eye on potential risks that they can see, and maybe once they can't really pin down, that may be ahead of the curve, right? I think the world is going through, I guess, a fairly uncertain period. We've come through a fairly uncertain period and still heading in that direction. What are clients demanding of you, in this climate, if you look at the research that you're doing currently?
So in this climate, as always, it's a lot of in-depth research. That is basically equity research work. To be aware of what's happening, to take informed decisions about what's going to happen. So we help them do that.
Okay.
And with the technical expertise that we have at Acuity, we are able to give them an idea of what is going to happen, to forecast, to project. So that is what makes equity research work very interesting. So I've been at Equity for about Acuity for about 16, 17 years. So we've seen the global financial crisis, stocks going up, stocks going down,
Right.
oil crashing, oil reaching a peak. So that is what makes life interesting. So, and that's how we support them with our technical expertise.
And then now you're seeing a new trend after 40 years, resurgence in inflation and
Yes.
interest rates
Exactly.
rising to
Yes.
combat that.
So it's always a case of research, knowledge, and forecasting what the future is going to be.
When you talk to clients right now, are they worried that some sort of a super cycle is a business cycle, or some sort of a super cycle is at its end because interest rates will put a stop, be the end of that cycle?
Yes, but then again, we see opportunity in that. Where equity takes off, equity slumps, credit takes off. So it's not a case of, everything's flat. So in investment banking, investment research, they always keep looking for opportunities. And that's what we help them do.
Is there sort of need for talking to you more pronounced now because there's so much more volatility that they need to get their heads around?
Yes, at times of volatility, they're undergoing a lot of pressure, and we can ease some of the pressure by the support that we give, by being, as Chanakya said, an extension to their team on show. So yes, that is quite normal. But again, we always work closely with them. So this is a part and parcel of equity research.
Sure. Rohan, if I can bring you in, when, the world is rich with data now in ways that it wasn't. And I suppose if you were creative, you could potentially see how you can understand issues with different sets of data, right? Is that work that Acuity is doing, and how do you, if that it is indeed work that you're doing, how are you using data to inform client insights?
Yeah. Basically, to add something to Gayani's point as well, we work with a lot of the data, and then we provide a lot of research insights. So if I tell what's happening right now, it's kind of a paradigm shift that's happening. So it's not only the traditional analysis that people are looking at. So I have seen a lot of the, if you look at the markets right now, you would see a lot of the alternative database products are coming out, and then new research products. So it's a very competitive environment. So all these analysts, in these large corporates, they are looking at different set of data, and I think now we are talking about the inflation and everything. So do we really need to wait for a particular report comes out to figure out inflation, or we can find these digital footprints available and then try to see or predict the inflation? So that sort of aspects are coming in. Now there are so much of data, and one of the key to this is the ever growing computational power. So with that, you can process massive amount of data. And one of the thing is you can come up with different insights, different ways of looking at the analysis. And the other thing is, as Gayani mentioned, so we can provide that complementary analysis or like an insurance policy to their analysis to back their judgments.
Help demystify this a bit, Rohan, right? Now, for somebody sitting out there, they may wonder, okay, what is this alternative data that potentially can inform an investment decision, right? You can surely analyze the company and its data, but what is this alternative data? Can you give us an example or two?
Yeah, so basically, I'll take a simple example. So right now, we all are sitting over here, and then we have a lot of digital devices. So we are keeping our digital footprints. So if someone wants to track how many people are here and then moving out, so those data is already available. It's because we have so many digital prints. It may be your smartphone, or it may be the websites that you are visiting. So let's say I want to analyze a particular supermarket. So we have a lot of satellites which are taking all these images. There are so many companies, so we can subscribe to them, and then we can take these pictures and analyze how much of vehicles are coming in. And then if you go to that particular the web traffic data providers, you would see how much of the requests are coming, and then you can track prices and everything, and then you can compare that with all the other supermarkets. So it's there are so many possibilities, and it's the amount of analysis that you can come up with, it's unlimited because data is growing.
Sure. So you talked about analyzing parking lot occupancy or or such data. Is it such that you are actually doing that sort of work from in Sri Lanka?
Yes, for global clients we do a lot of these things. It's not only the satellite images that we analyze. There are so many data sources, and most of those data sources are not available as well. And these are a few years back, if you ask about this, it's like a real impossible task. But right now we do it with our global clients.
So Gayani, sell-side research possibly isn't what it is right now from when you started at Acuity or Amba, as it was possibly known back then, right? It has changed quite a bit.
So it has evolved, definitely. With the times it has evolved. The fundamentals still remain the same.
Okay.
But as Rohan was explaining, we are in the recent times there has been a tie-up with fintech. There is while the fundamentals have remained the same, the way it's done, the processes have changed. We've introduced beat modeling to the platform, and now recently an iPhone app for beat, where you can access information.
You'll have to sort of demystify beat modeling.
I think Rohan is the person
so
to do
Beat
that.
is basically our proprietary technology platform that we offer to clients that have so many different aspects. So when it comes to the sell side applications, we are looking at how to make the financial model building process more efficient, right? All of us spend quite a bit of our time building very detailed financial models, valuation models, forecasting on behalf of our investment research clients. So one application of our proprietary technology tools is to how do we make that process more efficient, right? How do we bring element of technology so that the human judgment is not taken away, but some amount of, let's say, the data gathering and the more manual activities can be automated. So that's what essentially one element that how we are improving the sell side research process.
So we were discussing, Gayani, just before we got into beat modeling, how
it has evolved over time.
How the industry has evolved. Tell us, if you step back, what are those big changes do you think you can spot?
The big change is, I think, the process, because the fundamentals of equity research is numerics and storytelling, analysis and storytelling. That has remained the same, and that will always, I think, in my opinion, remain the same. It's how we do it. And of course, the companies that we look at, the factors we look at. ESG is a big player now. This was not a major consideration 15 years ago. But
ESG meaning environmental, social and governance.
Governance is exactly. So that's a major concern now. Takes up a lot of time in our research. So that is one major development other than the technical environment that I was speaking to you about. Yes, those two are, I think, the main changes, of course, and the companies that we cover have evolved. What they were focusing on, and how they do business. So the KPIs of those particular companies have changed, but that's the norm, right? Companies change, don't stay static, they change.
Chanakya, you're in charge of getting the big picture right, being able to respond to what's happening out there in the market with the capabilities and teams that you have, and in that sense, what's top of mind for you in terms of what you want to be achieving over the next few years in response to what you think are likely to be the client demands?
Yeah. So, Shamindra, we are basically now no longer limited to a very narrow product line or a service when it comes to our services towards the global financial institutions or the management consulting firms. We now have a wide spectrum of analytical and technology related services that we provide as an extension to their team. So this has allowed us to basically have more senior discussions with the clients on actually transforming their front office, right? Not only in investment research, because now we have compliance solutions, we have quite a bit of technology solutions, both from a technology solutions platforms as well as from a data science perspective. We have, when it comes to research, we have the equity research, credit research, and quantitative research capabilities very much integrated, along with, as Gayani mentioned, environmental and social governance risk analysis capabilities. So we are able to provide a very much of a combined solution that the clients can really use to optimize their business model, right? What are they good at? They are good at obviously making market calls, right? They are good at maintaining their relationships with the corporates that provide them with the business and the asset owners who provide them with money to invest. But what about the entire analysis and the operation side? To what extent does that work need to happen in New York, London, or Singapore, and Hong Kong? Or could it benefit from a better talent mix that is based out of South Asia, based out of Costa Rica, based out of China? So these are basically the discussions that we are leading with the clients. And I believe that as the business cycle itself goes through changes, these discussions will be more commonplace.
Right. If I can bring you in, Gayani here, Chanakya talked about how that relationship with clients is forming. If I can ask you about, you are in data science, this is leading edge, I'm sure, quite now, even from the perspective of your clients, what sorts of skills and capabilities does your team possess, and what's the sort of profile of that person who aspires to be in data science, working for these big bulge bracket investment banks? What sort of skill set do they typically have?
Yeah, so if I break it down in a very generic way, data science is nothing but mathematics, statistics, and computer science. But on day-to-day basis, we are working with the global data science research heads from all the Wall Street firms. So one thing that the uniquely give the advantage is that business awareness. So we have this sector specific experts and the knowledge that we have gathered for decades. So that gives the ultimate edge, because we have worked with some of the clients, and then I was part of a lot of the conversations. So what I've been hearing is there are some organizations which has huge data storages, but they don't know how to get right insights from that because they don't have that business element. So as Acuity, we do have that because we have that expertise. So we work along with all our the investment research analysts and all the business or sector experts. So it's quite easy to make data interpretable and take actionable items out of those data.
So it looks like, Gayani, you talked to us about the data, the analysis, and then telling a story, right? And you got to do this across disciplines. And if you're leading a team, you have to sort of give leadership to that initiative. How does this in practice work?
So yes, so maybe we can help the tech team identify what is relevant, what is not, to separate the signal from the noise. So that would be it, I suppose.
Yeah, let me add one point to that. So I'll give you a case study. I mean, we've been working with a lot of the airlines data. So we had tracked so much of airline data, and then we were analyzing that. But we didn't know how to interpret that. Then our, the sector experts who are covering these sectors, they came and they gave the insight saying, look, I mean, if you have the airline, the airplane model, whether it's the Airbus A380 or something like that, and then you have prices. So why don't we try to plot that and see the utilization, because you can build a correlation with the price movements. And then they also knew in certain the airports or cities whether there are any festivals or anything, so they can bring that business insights, and then it's quite easy to do the analysis because you exactly know what's happening, and then the expectations as well.
Right. Chanakya, I suppose if you want to work in such, in with such diverse sets of data, with such clients with complicated and evolving needs, you must make sure you have a fairly diverse and capable team. What are those capabilities that you want at the core of the organization, and what are those good to have diversity metrics that you think will add value to your clients?
Sure. So, I mean, I can talk both from a domain perspective as well as our employee base composition perspective. So, from a domain perspective, we want our analysts to be very technologically skilled. I mean, we don't want everyone to be, let's say, a programmer or a software engineer, but we want them to be able to provide their sector-specific domain expertise to, let's say, Rohan's colleagues working on data science, so that, I mean, they filter data better, they come up with better analysis, better insights that our clients can work on creating a publishable content. That is one thing. But more from an organization perspective, we strongly believe in diversity and inclusion, and we have demonstrated it, right? Starting with the fact that whether it's gender diversity, whether it's a diversity across ethnicities or different, let's say, cultural, religious backgrounds, we genuinely believe that we work with a global clientele, and having a as diverse workforce as possible is basically the best business decision, because we are more relatable to the clients, and the fact that especially in Sri Lanka we have a very good gender diversity in our hiring mix. In fact, some of the teams and some of the middle management, I would say, is dominated by very successful females, and people like Gayani have taken a big role over the last decade or so in developing career options for women in capital markets, using our company as a platform, as well as working with the CFA institution in developing career visibility for females to enter into capital markets. Maybe something that you can elaborate.
Yes, certainly. So our company is nearly 500 strong now. 50% is female, and almost 50% of the management cadre is also female. So this was not by design, but something that happened. So that could happen because our promotions in our company are given purely on merit. So nobody said it has to be 50% women. It happens because company practices not only diversity, but equity and inclusion as well. So, and as Chanakya said, there is a company is now making a conscious effort to promote diversity and inclusion, to support female empowerment, to support families through the parents network, then multicultural affinity, LGBTQ plus rights. So that is all being done consciously. We had training programs, and we are trained and to identify our unconscious biases and to practice equality as employees. And if you come to capital markets, I think the majority of CFA charter holders in Sri Lanka, the female charter holders in Sri Lanka, have been at Acuity at some point in their career, or are at Acuity at the moment. So I think that's a huge plus. And that 50% number in our organization is a very progressive number for an investment research firm, because equity research, investment banking is generally dominated by males. So this is very progressive from Sri Lanka's point of view. And this is not only lip service, because I'm a direct beneficiary of the company's culture of supporting women. I have 2 kids. I had both of them while I was at Acuity. And after my first child, I couldn't have continued working if not for the support of the senior management, who facilitated a working arrangement, a flexible working arrangement for me, and obtained client approval to keep on working. So it's the only reason that I could keep on working, and that's something I'm very grateful to the company for. That flexible option is available to everybody now, because post-COVID, we have adopted a hybrid work structure, and there is greater flexibility. And we see definitely an increase in the number of actually women rejoining our firm. Some who have left are rejoining now because of this culture that is there in our company. So yes, that is something that we practice.
I think that's a great conversation. Anything you think we need to add to round this off, Chanakya?
I think we covered most of the factors pretty well. We just want to, again highlight our common theme whenever we speak with you, Shamindra. It's just that we are very happy with the Sri Lanka's university system's integration with our industry. Over the past 20 years, we took a lead in partnering with the universities. Some of the faculty members worked with us during their sabbaticals. We partnered with them on launching certain postgraduate programs related to financial mathematics and advanced topics related to the investment industry. And we see results now. I think the top universities, state universities in Sri Lanka are producing now very good finance, accounting and investment industry ready talent, and it has been further supplemented by the CFA institutions' good work with the Sri Lankan university system by way of the university research competition and grooming some of the best faculty students to basically be analysts and work on live company coverage tasks, and of course storytelling, presenting the investment view to a experienced industry audience. So I think these are some of the positive things that have been happening in Sri Lanka, and we continue to hope that we can partner more and develop this talent pipeline, allowing us to expand our Sri Lanka operations further.
Thanks. Thank you, Chanakya, Gayani and Rohan. Thanks for being with us.